But the difference now between now and day one is we know about you, a lot about you. Today could be the day. Sleep well.
Dante Alighieri's 14th century epic, The Divine Comedy, is widely considered to be one of the greatest works of world literature. The poem is broken down into 3 parts that describe the soul's journey to God. In Dante's Inferno, the dark woods and night symbolize man's sin. The path Dante follows throughout the story symbolizes the virtuous man's way of life, which Dante had lost. The river Acheron is the first of the 3 infernal rivers in hell. It was perceived to be a physical barrier between the underworld and the mortal world. Mortals could not cross the river to enter the underworld, just as the dead could not cross it to escape. It was said to have the power of immortality, as well as the miraculous power to make whoever bathed in it invulnerable. Deer Creek, which is regularly used for baptism, symbolizes the birth and resurrection of an immortal soul and admission into the Christian church. Just as the ferryman of Hades, Charon, transported the souls of the newly dead across the river Acheron and into the underworld, Abby and Libby crossed the Monon High Bridge and were then forced down a hill, across Deer Creek, and into the forest. It was here that their souls crossed over. Bridge Guy must be brought to justice so that Abby and Libby can finally be at peace. Welcome back, my dear friend. It has been far too long. Thank you for joining me once again for this very special episode of True Crime Jesus. In this video, we will explore my take on the recent developments in the case, and I'll try to focus on things that haven't been previously discussed in regards to these new developments. So relax, grab a moon pie and some RC Cola, and join me as we travel from hell to oblivion. Many have been critical of the FBI's Indianapolis office's work on the Delphi murders. Agents Jay Abbott and Michael Langeman from the FBI's Indianapolis office also worked on the case of Larry Nassar. Larry Nassar was an osteopathic physician and the team doctor for the United States Women's National Gymnastics team. For 18 years, Nassar sexually abused hundreds of girls through his position of trust and authority as the team doctor. Agents Abbott and Langeman ignored a victim's disturbing reports of Nassar abusing her in 2011. After she related her story to them, Abbott and Langeman never officially opened an investigation. They never wrote a report, and then later lied under oath regarding their investigation. These are two of the agents that have been working on the case of Abby and Libby from the beginning. Sometimes, murdered children's cases are solved many years after the fact. Similar to the case of Andrew Gosden from Doncaster, England. In 2007, 14-year-old Andrew Gosden skipped school, emptied his bank account, and bought a one-way ticket from Doncaster to London, and then subsequently vanished. Andrew was last seen on closed-circuit television leaving King's Cross train station. Years passed without any answers. Andrew's parents had even considered the possibility that he was struggling with his sexual orientation and tried reaching out to the gay community for possible answers. Many speculated that Andrew went to London to meet someone, but no digital footprint could be found. According to Andrew's father, Andrew didn't even use a computer at home or have an email address. Police took the computers from Gosden's school, but found no activity from Gosden. Andrew was given a new phone for his 12th birthday, but rarely used it and didn't want to replace it when it was lost. In the days leading up to Andrew's disappearance, Gosden twice broke from his normal routine, which for Andrew was highly unusual. Andrew walked home from school rather than taking the school bus twice in the week before his disappearance. Andrew chose to walk 4.5 miles home from school instead of taking the bus. Did Andrew use this time to plan a meeting with someone? 15 years later, on January 11th, 2022, it was announced by South Yorkshire Police that on December 8th, 2021, detectives investigating the case of Andrew Gosden had arrested two men, aged 38 and 45, on suspicion of kidnapping and human trafficking, with one of the men also arrested on suspicion of possessing child pornography. The following day, it was announced that numerous devices had been seized from the men, pending a forensic investigation. It is suspected that images of Andrew were found on one of the men's devices. In the Delphi case, Libby's phone was factory reset shortly before the murders. Kelsey German admitted to deleting apps hours after the girls went missing. These actions may have been detrimental to the investigation. On a quiet Monday evening in December of 2021, for the first time in almost 3 years, the Indiana State Police released new information pertaining to the investigation of the Delphi, Indiana, double homicide of 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams. Law enforcement appealed to the public for the first time through YouTube, which in itself was unprecedented. The ISP video explained that an unknown person tied to the social media account Anthony Shots had used Snapchat and Instagram to contact juvenile females and solicit nude photos. The profile also attempted to obtain addresses and arrange meetings with underage females. We know that the Anthony Shots account liked multiple images posted by Liberty German shortly before the murders. This account would have been able to see the images Liberty posted of Abby at the Monon High Bridge on February 13th, 2017. The Anthony Shots profile was very active in 2016 and 2017. State police did not provide any link to the Anthony Shots account. The following day, Emily Longnecker of WTHR Indianapolis News tweeted, "Just got off the phone with ISP Superintendent Doug Carter, who thanked media for getting video out quickly from state police investigating Delphi murders." Followed by another tweet. Carter said reaching this point proves that perpetual pressure works. He declined to elaborate. Two things stood out to me about these statements made by ISP Carter. Doug Carter thanked the media for getting the video out quickly. Why the urgency? What we didn't know then, that we know now, is about Keegan Klein's 2017 polygraph, interrogation, and confession regarding the child pornography and catfishing of underage girls in the Delphi area. Why were they watching him for 3 years? What happened that made it necessary to quickly release this information on a quiet December evening? Perpetual pressure works. What did Superintendent Carter mean by this? Much like the Andrew Gosden case, the Delphi double homicide case has taken a very long time for things to begin to fall into place. The Keegan Klein arrest affidavit gave a timeline of how the investigation unfolded. First, the FBI uncovered the Anthony Shots account. The FBI passed the information they found to the Indiana State Police Cyber Crimes Unit. Next, Instagram and Snapchat were subpoenaed, which yielded a Comcast IP address. Comcast was contacted, who then provided a physical address in Peru, Indiana. On February 25th, 2017, a search warrant was executed at the Klein residence in Peru, Indiana. Keegan was home at the time with his father, Jerry Klein. During the search, police recovered numerous electronic devices. When Keegan was asked for his current cell phone, he claimed he couldn't locate it. Keegan then went willingly to the police station for a polygraph examination, leaving his personal phone hidden in his house. At approximately 7:30 p.m., Keegan was driven back home by officers, and at around 9:15 p.m., he began deleting the incriminating information from his iPhone 5C, which was also the phone he told officers he couldn't find. February 26, 2017, a woman posted in a Delphi Facebook group she noticed what appeared to be a catfish account that liked Libby's photos and then had vanished. February 27th, 2017, Keegan had spent the last 2 days erasing his browser history, Snapchat history, photos, and messages, as well as other social media applications and data. Then, he called law enforcement to surrender his iPhone 5C. The phone's data had been deleted. The arrest affidavit for Keegan Kline tells us he solicited over 100 nude images from underage girls. It also tells us that Kline used multiple devices and a Dropbox to share images with an unknown person. Could this unknown person be Bridge Guy? Who is the unknown person that accessed the Dropbox mentioned in the probable cause affidavit? Is that who law enforcement was waiting 3 years for? It's common for pedophiles to trade images with other pedophiles. These images are the currency they use. In a rather strange coincidence, a man named Zachary Vermillion, who just like Keegan Kline lived in the small town of Peru, Indiana, was also arrested for sharing images of children via Dropbox. Strangely, his last upload to Dropbox appears to have been on none other than February 14th, 2017, the day Abby and Libby were discovered. For those of you that don't know, Dropbox is a cloud storage service that lets you save large files online and then sync them to your devices. You can use Dropbox links to share files and folders with other people without them having to download the large file. Dropbox offers a free plan that includes 2 gigabytes of storage. Dropbox can be used to trade and view all types of files, including images and video, without having to download the large files. This new information received by law enforcement was important enough to release late on a Monday evening, on YouTube of all places. I would recommend watching the new video by my friend and fellow YouTuber, the Captain Howdy, called Double-Edged Sword. I have included a link below in the description box. In the video, the Captain ponders if there is a possibility that in True Crime Channel HLN's Down the Hill documentary may have had more significance than we had previously thought. When you watch his video, pay attention to the 4:07 to 4:10 minute timestamps. This was the same model of Nissan from the Anthony Shots catfishing account. This video by HLN predates the public's knowledge of the car. Was HLN working with law enforcement? Could this have been another cryptic message to Bridge Guy? Or was it just another coincidence? Dante's journey through hell represent every man's descent into sin. Dante's Inferno focuses on the idea of free will and the belief that the sinners in hell choose their own fate. In the days following this new information, Keegan Kline's lawyer told news outlets that negotiations had broken down and they would be going to trial. This implies that Keegan Kline had something to negotiate with. In the end, things are different than they were before December, and a clear direction is finally on the table. This is much more than we had before. Kline's involvement, or lack thereof, seems to hinge upon his upcoming trial and a possible plea deal. Unfortunately for Kline, as it states in Dante's Inferno, the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in times of great moral crisis maintain their neutrality. That's all the time we have for you this week, my dear friends. If you could do me a kindness, please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Some of you may need to resubscribe as I lost my old channel and had to start over. But that story will have to wait for another day. Please, tell your friends, your co-workers, and even your Uber driver. This episode would not have been possible without the nutrition and sustenance True Crime Jesus receives from Ben & Jerry's Chocolate Therapy Ice Cream. Chocolate Therapy Ice Cream is a heavenly concoction of dark chocolate, milk chocolate ice cream, chocolate cookies, and heavenly swirls of chocolate pudding. True Crime Jesus eats this ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is why he is so efficient at solving crime. So, until we meet again, my dear friends, this is True Crime Jesus, signing off.